Chinese food is often described as oily, salty, and unhealthy. This idea is widely repeated across social media, health blogs, and even restaurant culture. But the reality is more complex. China is home to one of the oldest continuous culinary traditions in the world, spanning thousands of years and multiple regional ecosystems. From the rice-based diets of the South to the wheat-based diets of the North, Chinese food was not originally designed for indulgence. It was designed for balance, preservation, and sustainability. In fact, large population studies have consistently shown that traditional East Asian diets are associated with lower obesity rates compared to many Western dietary patterns. For example, data from global nutrition surveys show that countries maintaining traditional dietary structures tend to have lower ultra-processed food intake and higher vegetable consumption. This suggests that the perception of Chinese food as unhealthy may come less from the cuisine itself and more from modern preparation methods, especially deep frying, excess sodium, and sugary sauces often found in globalized restaurant versions. When traditional cooking methods are preserved, many Chinese dishes are naturally compatible with a balanced diet. Here are 7 Chinese dishes that can fit into a healthier way of eating. At number 1 is steamed dumplings. Steamed dumplings offer a clear example of how cooking methods influence whether a food supports or disrupts a balanced diet. The ingredients themselves are not extreme or unusual. What changes the outcome is how the food is prepared. Unlike fried dumplings, steaming does not require immersion in oil. There is no outer layer absorbing excess fat during cooking. This alone can significantly reduce total calorie density per piece. When food is deep fried, oil increases energy content quickly. When food is steamed, the calorie count remains closer to the natural value of the ingredients inside. A typical steamed dumpling contains roughly 50 to 100 calories, depending on its size and the type of filling used. Portion size matters here. Because dumplings are small and portion controlled by design, it becomes easier to monitor total intake compared to large mixed dishes where calories are harder to estimate. Most traditional fillings combine lean proteins such as chicken, shrimp, or tofu with vegetables like cabbage, mushrooms, chives, or carrots. This combination matters. Lean protein contributes essential amino acids that support muscle maintenance and overall body function. Vegetables contribute fiber, water content, and micronutrients. The result is a compact food that provides substance without excessive energy load. Protein plays an important role in satiety. Research across many dietary studies shows that meals higher in protein tend to increase fullness and reduce overall calorie intake later in the day. Fiber adds another layer of benefit by slowing digestion and supporting more stable energy levels. When protein and fiber appear together in the same food, the satiety effect becomes stronger than when either appears alone. From a broader perspective, steaming as a cooking method is common across many traditional food cultures. Populations that rely more heavily on steaming and boiling, rather than frying, generally show lower average fat consumption in dietary surveys. This does not mean steamed foods automatically guarantee health, but it does suggest that cooking technique shapes long-term dietary patterns. Steamed dumplings therefore demonstrate a simple principle. Even foods that are often grouped into a category like comfort food can fit into a balanced diet when preparation methods limit excess oil and preserve the natural structure of the ingredients. The difference between indulgent and balanced is often not the cuisine itself, but how the heat is applied and how much added fat is used. At number 2 is hot and sour soup. Hot and sour soup is often overlooked when people talk about healthy eating. It is rarely presented as a diet food, yet its structure aligns closely with many modern nutrition recommendations. Instead of being built around heavy starch or large amounts of oil, it is built around broth, vegetables, and moderate protein. A typical serving contains roughly 70 to 100 calories. That places it on the lower end of the calorie scale compared to many main dishes. Despite this modest energy value, the soup provides physical volume. Volume matters because the stomach responds not only to calories but also to stretch and warmth. Warm, liquid-based foods can increase feelings of fullness without requiring a high-calorie load. The soup commonly includes tofu, mushrooms, egg, and bamboo shoots. Each ingredient contributes something distinct. Tofu provides plant-based protein. Egg adds additional protein and texture. Mushrooms and bamboo shoots contribute fiber, minerals, and water content. Together, these ingredients create a layered nutritional profile without relying on heavy fats. Protein, even in moderate amounts, supports satiety and helps stabilize appetite between meals. Fiber from vegetables slows digestion and supports steady energy release. Antioxidants found in mushrooms and other plant ingredients contribute to overall dietary quality. None of these components are extreme on their own, but combined, they create a balanced dish. Research in eating behavior has repeatedly shown that starting a meal with a broth-based soup can reduce total calorie intake for that meal. This pattern has been observed in different countries and dietary cultures. The explanation is practical. Soup increases fullness early, which can lead to smaller portions of higher-calorie foods consumed afterward. The vinegar used in hot and sour soup adds another dimension. Vinegar increases acidity in the meal, and some studies suggest that acidic foods may help moderate blood sugar responses after eating. While the effect is not dramatic, it supports the broader idea that small ingredient choices can influence how the body processes a meal. When viewed together, hot and sour soup represents a traditional example of low-calorie, high-satiety eating. It delivers warmth, flavor, protein, and plant nutrients without excessive energy density. In practical terms, it shows that a dish does not need to be heavy to be satisfying, and it does not need to be complex to support balanced eating. At number 3 is Kung Pao chicken in a lighter form. Kung Pao chicken is often viewed as indulgent, and in many restaurant settings that perception is understandable. Popular versions are frequently deep-fried and coated in thick, sugary sauces. These preparation choices raise both calorie density and overall fat content, which shapes the dish's reputation. However, the base structure of the dish is not inherently unhealthy. When prepared with grilled or lightly stir-fried chicken and controlled oil use, the nutritional profile changes significantly. The core ingredients remain simple: chicken, peanuts, chili peppers, and vegetables. What shifts the outcome is how aggressively the food is cooked and how much oil is added. Chicken breast is naturally high in protein, typically providing more than 30 grams of protein per serving. Protein plays a central role in appetite regulation. Across many dietary studies, higher protein intake is linked with increased satiety, reduced snacking, and improved weight management outcomes. It also supports muscle maintenance, which becomes especially important in calorie-controlled diets. Peanuts, another defining ingredient, contribute fats, texture, and micronutrients. While fats increase total calories, not all fats behave the same way in the body. Unsaturated fats, which are found in peanuts, are widely associated with better cardiovascular markers when consumed in moderate amounts. They also help slow digestion, which can extend feelings of fullness after a meal. Vegetables and chili peppers add additional structure without dramatically increasing calories. Chili peppers bring strong flavor intensity, which can make a dish feel satisfying without relying on heavy sauces. This matters because flavor strength often determines how much oil or sugar is needed to make a meal feel complete. The key variable in Kung Pao chicken is oil quantity. A small increase in oil can raise total calories quickly because oil is energy dense. By reducing excess oil and limiting sugary sauces, the overall calorie load can drop noticeably while the core identity of the dish remains intact. The flavors stay recognizable, but the nutritional balance improves. This reflects a broader pattern seen across many cuisines. Foods often labeled as unhealthy are not always defined by their core ingredients, but by how intensely they are prepared. When cooking methods become lighter and oil use is moderated, many familiar dishes shift from being occasional indulgences to more balanced meal options. Kung Pao chicken in a lighter form is a clear example of this transition. At number 4 is Buddha's Delight. Buddha's Delight reflects a different way of thinking about food. Instead of building a meal around one dominant ingredient, it builds balance through variety. The structure of the dish is based on combining multiple plant foods in moderate portions rather than relying on a single heavy component. In most traditional versions, the dish combines tofu with a wide range of vegetables such as bok choy, mushrooms, carrots, snow peas, and sometimes glass noodles. Each ingredient contributes something small on its own, but together they form a layered nutritional profile. This layered structure increases fiber intake, while also providing a broad mix of vitamins and minerals. Fiber plays an important role in digestive health and appetite control. Meals that are higher in fiber tend to support slower digestion and more stable energy levels after eating. Vegetables also add water content and volume, which can make a meal feel filling without requiring a high-calorie load. This is one reason vegetable-rich dishes are often linked with improved dietary balance over time. Plant-forward diets have been studied across many regions, and the findings are relatively consistent. Higher intake of vegetables is commonly associated with improved metabolic health and lower long-term risk markers in population studies. While no single dish determines health outcomes, patterns that include more vegetables tend to produce better results over time. The tofu component adds structure to the meal by providing protein. Unlike many animal proteins, tofu is low in saturated fat while still delivering a complete amino acid profile. This makes it especially valuable in diets that aim to balance protein intake without increasing heavy fat consumption. It also makes the dish accessible to both vegetarians and those simply trying to reduce meat intake. In global nutrition research, partially replacing animal protein with plant protein has shown measurable benefits in several health markers. These benefits are often linked to lower saturated fat intake and higher intake of plant compounds that support overall dietary quality. Again, the effect comes from patterns rather than single meals, and Buddha's delight fits well within those patterns. Another important feature of the dish is portion structure. Because it relies on variety rather than density, it delivers nutrients without relying on large serving sizes. This allows people to eat until satisfied without consuming excessive calories. It shifts the focus from eating less food to eating differently structured food. Buddha's delight therefore represents a traditional example of nutrient density built through diversity rather than volume. It shows how combining many simple ingredients can create a meal that feels complete, balanced, and sustainable over time. At number 5 is Chinese broccoli with garlic. Chinese broccoli, also known as gai lan, is one of the simplest dishes on this list, and that simplicity is part of its strength. Foods with fewer ingredients are often easier to evaluate nutritionally because there are fewer hidden variables such as excess sugar, starch, or oil. In this case, the focus stays clearly on the vegetable itself. Leafy green vegetables are widely recognized as some of the most nutrient-dense foods available. They deliver a high concentration of vitamins and minerals relative to their calorie content. Chinese broccoli provides vitamins such as A, C, and K, along with plant compounds that support normal immune and cellular function. These nutrients are essential, meaning the body relies on regular dietary intake to maintain balance. A typical serving of Chinese broccoli prepared with minimal oil contains fewer than 120 calories. That places it firmly in the low-calorie category, yet the nutritional value remains high. This contrast between low energy and high micronutrient content is one of the defining characteristics of nutrient-dense foods. It allows a meal to remain light while still contributing meaningfully to daily nutritional needs. Another advantage of leafy greens is their fiber content. Fiber supports digestion and contributes to fullness, which can help regulate portion sizes across a meal. Vegetables like Chinese broccoli also contain significant water content, adding volume without adding calories. Together, fiber and water create a sense of satiety that supports balanced eating patterns. Across global dietary studies, higher intake of leafy greens is consistently associated with improved long-term health outcomes. This pattern appears in multiple regions and across different dietary cultures, suggesting that the benefit is not tied to any single cuisine. Instead, it reflects a broader nutritional principle. Diets that regularly include green vegetables tend to show better long-term stability. The addition of garlic adds both flavor and functional value. Garlic has been widely studied for its potential role in supporting cardiovascular health, particularly in relation to cholesterol balance and blood vessel function. While the effect of garlic alone is modest, regular inclusion as part of a broader diet may contribute to overall heart health. Importantly, this dish is usually prepared with a light hand. Traditional versions rely on quick cooking and minimal oil, which helps preserve both texture and nutritional integrity. Because the flavor comes from the natural bitterness of the greens and the sharpness of garlic, the dish does not depend on heavy sauces to feel complete. Chinese broccoli with garlic demonstrates how traditional vegetable preparations often align closely with modern health recommendations. It shows that simple cooking methods combined with nutrient-dense ingredients can create dishes that are both flavorful and nutritionally efficient without needing complexity or excess. At number 6 is Szechuan tofu. Szechuan tofu adds a different element to healthy Chinese eating: plant-based protein paired with strong, bold flavors. Unlike many protein sources that are high in saturated fat, tofu provides a complete amino acid profile while remaining low in fat. It is made from soybeans, which have been consumed for centuries in East Asia and studied extensively for their nutritional impact. A typical serving of Szechuan tofu provides around 12 to 15 grams of protein. This makes it a substantial source of protein in plant-based diets, supporting muscle maintenance, satiety, and overall metabolic function. Protein from tofu is also easier to combine with other plant foods to create balanced meals, making it versatile in a range of dietary patterns. Soy-based foods, including tofu, have been linked in long-term studies to favorable cardiovascular markers. Populations with regular soy intake often show lower levels of total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, which are key indicators of heart health. While effects vary between individuals, the research suggests consistent benefits when soy is included as part of a regular diet. The defining characteristic of Szechuan cuisine is its use of spices, particularly Szechuan peppercorns. These spices provide strong, distinctive flavor without adding extra calories. Flavor intensity is important because it reduces the need for heavy sauces or additional fats, which are often the main contributors to calorie load in restaurant versions of the dish. When oil is controlled and only a moderate amount is used for cooking, Szechuan tofu becomes a low-calorie, nutrient-rich option that satisfies both taste and dietary goals. The vegetables commonly added, such as bell peppers, onions, or broccoli, increase fiber, water content, and micronutrient diversity. This dish highlights a broader principle applicable to many cuisines. Intense flavor does not require excess calories. By combining plant-based protein with well-chosen spices and vegetables, Szechuan tofu offers a meal that is filling, satisfying, and compatible with healthy eating patterns. It demonstrates that balance, flavor, and nutrition can coexist without compromise. At number 7 is wonton soup. Wonton soup is a clear example of how broth-based dishes can contribute to balanced and nutritious eating. Broth serves multiple purposes in a meal. It provides hydration, adds volume, and delivers flavor, all while remaining relatively low in calories. A typical serving of wonton soup ranges between 150 and 200 calories, depending on the size of the serving and the type of fillings used. The protein in wontons usually comes from lean sources such as shrimp or chicken. These proteins add satiety and essential amino acids without significantly increasing fat content. By using lean fillings, the dish provides a balanced mix of nutrients that support both fullness and energy stability. Research on eating patterns consistently shows that meals with higher water content, including soups, tend to reduce total calorie consumption during the entire meal. This is because the volume of liquid in food stretches the stomach and signals satiety before higher calorie foods are consumed in large quantities. In practical terms, starting a meal with broth-based dishes can help moderate portion sizes and support better energy balance. Compared to heavier noodle or fried dishes, wonton soup offers a lighter structure. It can satisfy cravings for warmth and comfort without the excess calories or fats often associated with other comfort foods. Vegetables, lean protein, and broth combine to create a balanced, flavorful meal. Small adjustments can further improve the nutritional profile. Using lower sodium broth reduces excess salt intake, while adding extra vegetables or choosing whole grain or gluten-free wonton wrappers can increase fiber and micronutrient content. These simple changes allow wonton soup to remain a satisfying, culturally authentic dish, while aligning closely with modern health recommendations. Wonton soup demonstrates that even dishes often seen as indulgent can be adapted to support a balanced diet. It highlights the principle that hydration, protein, and volume are key components of meals that satisfy both taste and nutrition. The idea that Chinese food is inherently unhealthy does not hold up well under closer examination. In many cases, The difference lies in preparation methods rather than the cuisine itself. Steaming instead of frying, reducing oil quantities, and prioritizing vegetables can significantly change nutritional outcomes. This pattern is not unique to Chinese food. Many traditional cuisines around the world have undergone similar shifts when adapted for fast food environments or global restaurant chains. When traditional methods are preserved, the nutritional structure often looks very different from modern stereotypes. Healthy eating is rarely about eliminating entire cuisines. It is more often about understanding how food is prepared and how ingredients interact. Chinese cuisine, in its traditional form, offers a wide spectrum of dishes that can support balanced nutrition. From steamed proteins to vegetable-rich stir-fries and broth-based soups, many options already align with modern health priorities. The deeper lesson may be this: sometimes what we think of as unhealthy food is not defined by culture, but by adaptation. And when we look closely, many traditional food systems still carry the logic of balance that modern diets are trying to rediscover.